What up, YouTube? Alright, this video gonna be about survival methods. Tell you a little bit about this book. This is the third edition SAS Survival Handbook by John Lofty Wiseman. I got this a while back when I was still in the army. Bought it at the store. Uh, yeah, it's a lot of interesting stuff in here. So I'm going to read y'all this passage on water. All right. So, water is essential to life. A person can survive for 3 weeks without food, but for only 3 days without water. Therefore, its discovery and conservation should be prioritized over food. Don't wait until you have run out of water before you look for it. Conserve what you have and seek a source as soon as possible, preferably fresh running water. Though all water can be sterilized by boiling or by using chemical purifiers. In a survival situation, a 1 liter jug, 1 3/4 of a pint, can be made to last 4 days. But if necessary, the last 1/4 liter can be made to last 3 days. This is achieved by dividing the last 1/4 liter into 3, then drinking half of the day's ration at midday and the balance at night for 3 days. Water is the coolant that keeps the body at an even temperature. It is needed to keep the kidneys functioning to eliminate waste, is required for breathing, and for digestion. But the fluids contained in the body are limited. Lost water must be replaced or health and efficiency will suffer. The average human requires the minimum of 1/4 liter of water per day to survive. Water loss. The average person loses 2/3 liter water each day. Even someone resting in shade loses about 1 liter. Just breathing loses fluids, and loss through respiration and perspiration increases with work rate and temperature. Vomiting and diarrhea increases loss further. This must all be replaced to preserve the critical water balance, either by actual water or water contained in food. Okay, and it has a little side passage. It says how to retain fluids. Avoid exertion. Just rest. Don't smoke. Keep cool. Stay in shade. If there is none, erect a cover to provide it. Do not lie on hot ground or heated surfaces. Don't eat, or eat as little as possible. If there is no water available, fluid will be taken from the vital organs to digest food, further increasing dehydration. Fat is hardest to digest and takes a lot of fluid to break it down. Never drink alcohol. Don't talk and breathe through the nose, not the mouth. Alright, and the next session is finding water. The first place to look is in valley bottoms where water naturally drains. If there is no obvious stream or pool, look for patches of green vegetation and try digging there. There may be water just below the surface, which will build up in the hole. Even digging in gullies and dry stream beds may reveal a spring beneath the surface, especially in gravelly areas. In mountains, look for water trapped in crevices. On the coast, digging above the high water line, especially where there are sand dunes, has a good chance of producing about 5 centimeters of fresh water that filters down and floats on the heavier salt water. It may be brackish, but it's drinkable. Where cliffs fall into the sea, look for lush growth of vegetation, even ferns and mosses, and a fault in the rock formation, and you may find a soak or spring. If no fresh water can be found, salt water can be distilled. Warning: be suspicious of any pool with no green vegetation growing around it or animal bones present. It is likely to be polluted by chemicals in the ground close to the surface. Check edge for minerals which might indicate alkaline conditions. Always boil water from pools. In deserts, there are lakes with no outlets. These become salt lakes. Their water must be distilled before drinking. And they have a patches on dew and rain collection. Despite the acid rain produced by industrialized countries, which can cause a buildup of pollution in the soil, Rainwater everywhere is drinkable and only needs collecting. Use as big a catchment area as possible, running the water off into containers of every kind. A hole dug in the ground and lined with clay will hold water efficiently, but keep it covered. If you have no impermeable sheeting, metal sheets or bark can be used to catch water in. If you have any doubt about the water you have collected, boil it. In climates where it is very hot during the day and cold at night, heavy dew can be expected. When it condenses on metal objects, it can be sponged or licked off. You can use clothing to soak up water and then wring it out. One way is to tie clean cloths around the legs and ankles and walk through wet vegetation. These can be sucked or wrung out. Then I got a passage on animals as signs of water, but I'm going to move on to condensation. Tree and plant roots draw moisture from the ground, but a tree may take it from a water table 15 meters or more below, too deep to dig down to reach. Don't try. Let the tree pump it up for you by tying a plastic bag around a leafy branch. Evaporation from the leaves will produce condensation in the bag. And they have some illustrations, but I'm going to read the rest of the passages and I'll show you the illustrations. Choose healthy vegetation and bushy branches. On trees, keep the mouth of the bag at the top with a corner hanging low to collect condensed evaporation. Placing a polythene tent over any vegetation will collect moisture by evaporations, which will condense on the plastic as it cools. Suspend the tent from the apex or support with a padded stick. Avoid foliage touching the sides of the trap or it will divert water droplets which should collect in plastic lined channels at the bottom. Even cut vegetation will produce some condensation as it warms up when placed in a large plastic bag. Keep the foliage off the bottom with stones so the water collects below it. And keep the foliage from touching the plastic. Use stones to keep the bag taut. Support the top on a padded stick. Arrange the bag on a slight slope to encourage condensation to run down to the collecting point. When no longer productive, carefully replace with fresh foliage. Alright, now I'll show you the illustration. Okay. And the next passage is on the solar steel, but I'll actually be posting that later. But okay, family, peace.